Today, let's take a look at the 5 reverse thinking concepts that Musk mentioned, which will overturn your decades-long understanding. Because 99% of people tend to think in a forward manner. A wife wanted to change her husband's habit of coming home late, so she set a rule: if he comes home after 11 p.m., the door will be locked and he won't be allowed in. At first, it worked well in the first week, but in the second week, the husband's problem recurred. The wife, following the rules, locked the door. As a result, the husband simply didn't come home. The wife, feeling frustrated, wondered if the rule was wrong. After some reverse thinking, she revised the rule: if he doesn't come home by 11 p.m., she will leave the door open and go to sleep. Surprisingly, the husband started coming home on time from that day forward. I'm afraid he won't come home, so I try to control him to come home. Reverse thinking: what is he afraid of? Use the method he fears to make him come home automatically. Learning reverse thinking involves putting yourself in someone else's shoes. In practical applications, especially when dealing with adversarial parties with conflicting interests, you need to genuinely understand their perspective. For example, if you deposit money at an ATM at night and it malfunctions, swallowing your $10,000. You contact the bank, and they say it will be fixed the next day. In reverse thinking, you could call customer service and claim that the ATM gave you an extra $10,000, and repair personnel arrive promptly. The key is to touch on the other party's interests, turning your problem into their problem. A woman's phone and wallet were stolen at a supermarket. A friend passing by calmly sent a message to the lost phone pretending to be the woman's acquaintance: "Sis, I couldn't find you at the supermarket just now. I have an urgent matter, so I had to leave. I put the $20,000 I owe you in the supermarket storage box B07, password 3686. After you get the money, reply to me." The thief fell for the trick, and both the phone and wallet were recovered. The lesson is, instead of thinking about what you want at the moment, think about what the other party wants. As Einstein said, think of what others are afraid to think, and you'll have success halfway. Do what others are afraid to do, and you'll succeed the other half. There was a person who wanted to buy a storefront. He called the phone number posted on the glass, only to find out it was a real estate agent. After learning that the agent's fee was particularly high, he came up with a plan. He took a small stone, shattered a window, left his contact information, and claimed it was accidentally broken, asking the landlord to contact him for compensation. After a few days, the landlord contacted him, and he directly bought the storefront from the landlord, saving a large sum of agent fees. After buying the storefront, he didn't know what business to start. So, he posted a rental information again, and many prospective tenants contacted him. Pretending to be the landlord, he asked these seekers what business they intended to run in the space. Then, he chose the business with the most options among the prospective tenants. First, determine or set a reachable goal, then think backward from the goal to your current position. Through reverse thinking, starting from the final goal, you can develop a roadmap for progress. Another story involves a friend borrowing $2,000 from John and writing a promissory note. As the repayment deadline approached, John suddenly found that he had lost the promissory note, causing him great anxiety because he knew that the person who borrowed money from him might default. John's brother, upon learning of the situation, advised John to write a letter to his friend, asking him to repay $2,500 when the time came. Although confused, John followed his brother's advice. After sending the letter, he quickly received a reply. The friend wrote in the letter that he borrowed $2,000, not $2,500, and would repay accordingly. The key lesson is to be clear about your current goal. In this case, it wasn't about getting the friend to repay money, it was about obtaining a new promissory note, which required the friend to admit to borrowing the money. When potatoes were introduced to France, they were called devil's apples, and French farmers were unwilling to plant them. Someone came up with a strange idea. Next to a test field for planting potatoes, a fully armed soldier was stationed day and night. Seeing this, the surrounding farmers believed that potatoes must be good, so they often sneaked into the test field and planted the stolen potatoes in their own fields. Gradually, potatoes became a widely planted crop among French farmers. This is also known as the Pandora effect. In Greek mythology, Zeus gave a woman named Pandora a box and told her never to open it. Pandora became increasingly curious about what was in the box and why it absolutely couldn't be opened. Unable to resist her growing curiosity, one day she opened the box, and instantly, illness, war, and disaster turned into terrifying illusions swarming out, spreading across the world. The glorious era of humanity vanished in an instant. The Pandora effect, also known as the forbidden fruit effect, is a collective term in psychology for behavior that people can't help doing when it's prohibited. Unlike ordinary reverse psychology, it actually originates from people's innate curiosity. When people's freedom is restricted, it creates an unpleasant feeling. Engaging in prohibited behavior, on the other hand, eliminates this discomfort. If the choice is voluntary, people tend to increase their liking for the chosen object. When the choice is forced, it tends to decrease the liking for the chosen object. People want control over their actions and don't like their freedom restricted. Turning something valuable that people don't like into a forbidden fruit increases its attractiveness, cleverly leveraging human innate curiosity. Once, I followed a teacher friend to a lecture on the 23rd floor. We had 2 minutes left before the class, and it was rush hour. Many people were queuing in front of the elevator, and it would take at least 5 minutes. The teacher was worried about being late and losing face. He told me to walk, and we went up to second floor using the stairs. From the second floor, we took the elevator down to the first floor. After reaching the first floor, we stayed inside the elevator without getting out, then went up to the 23rd floor. We didn't have to wait in line and became the first to enter the elevator. Many people on the first floor were still anxiously queuing. No one thought about whether there was another way to enter the elevator without waiting in line. This is the typical thought pattern of most people. Transformational thinking is about shifting from passive to active. Here's a joke that illustrates the power of transformational thinking. Ordinary people might say, a female college student attends classes during the day and works as a prostitute at night. A person with transformational thinking might say, a prostitute works at night and still insists on attending classes during the day. The two expressions convey completely different messages. The first method expresses negativity, while the second conveys positivity. In business operations, transformational reverse thinking is even more valuable. For example, if a buffet restaurant is suffering from poor profitability due to customers wasting food, instead of imposing a fine of $20 for those wasting food, you can increase the price by $20 and simultaneously introduce a rule that rewards those who don't waste food with $20. This approach can boost business and eliminate wasteful behavior. Many photographers, when taking group photos, often count down, saying 3, 2, 1. Despite people trying to keep their eyes open, there's always someone who can't resist blinking when the countdown reaches 1. Then someone had an idea that seemed doubtful at first. Have everyone close their eyes, shout 3, 2, 1, and then open their eyes together. The disadvantage might actually be the advantage itself. The essence of the disadvantage reverse thinking is that disadvantages can be turned into advantages. It's about using the discovered disadvantages in objects or situations not just for improvement but also for direct and cost-effective utilization. This form of reverse thinking is not about trying to overcome the shortcomings but, on the contrary, turning them into strengths. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe.